Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right into something that's probably causing you a major headache right now if you're putting together a new PC. I'm talking about the downright shocking cost of upgrading. Whether you're deep in the DIY tech community or trying to manage an enterprise hardware budget, you absolutely know what I mean. The sticker shock is incredibly real. We're witnessing an unprecedented surge in memory costs. And spoiler alert, it's not just a random market blip or some minor supply chain hiccup. There is a massive structural reason why the global memory supply has just dried up for the average consumer. So we're going to break down exactly what's happening behind the scenes, step by step.
Section 1. The sticker shock, the immediate pain for everyday buyers.
Okay, first things first, you are definitely not imagining things. If your hardware budget feels like it's suddenly not stretching nearly as far as it used to, the market data completely backs you up. Get this. In some cases, the price of standard consumer RAM has surged by more than 100% recently. Just think about a typical 32GB DDR5 memory kit. A year ago, these kits hit that perfect sweet spot for a mid-tier build. They were super affordable. Today, that exact same memory architecture has literally doubled in price. It totally wrecks your system calculus when one foundational component suddenly eats up twice the budget. And honestly, this system storage situation is arguably even worse. High-capacity SSD models have jumped aggressively, with prices multiplying by 2 to 4 times what they were just a short while ago. We're talking specifically about those lightning-fast Gen 4 and Gen 5 NVMe drives, especially the super popular 2TB and 4TB capacities. They've been hit incredibly hard. You might have budgeted for a snappy 4TB drive for all your games and apps, only to realize that today, that exact same chunk of cash will only buy you a 1TB drive. It's forcing everyone into making some really tough compromises on speed and capacity. So, what's the deal here? Why is memory suddenly so ridiculously expensive? I mean, historically, memory pricing has been a total race to the bottom. Thanks to Moore's Law and the magic of mass production, the cost per gigabyte usually just falls year after year. So seeing this massive, rapid reversal is genuinely shocking. Something enormous is siphoning away the world's memory supply, and it's completely upending how tech pricing is supposed to work.
Section 2. AI is eating everything. The culprit behind the shortage.
Here is the absolute biggest tech trend of the decade. Big giants like Google, Microsoft, and Meta are locked in a massive infrastructure arms race right now, building these gigantic data centers to power the next generation of AI. And those AI systems, they require a mind-boggling amount of memory to run. When you're training large language models with hundreds of billions of parameters, you need vast datasets, active and ultra-fast memory all at once. That takes a relentless volume of DRAM for processing and literal petabytes of NAND for storage. Because this enterprise demand is off the charts, it's directly yanking supply straight out of the consumer pool. These AI firms have practically unlimited cash, so they're more than happy to pay a massive premium to get what they need. And the result? Way less silicone left over for your standard laptop or desktop.
Section 3. The supply bottleneck. Why factories can't just make more.
We are running face first into a super basic rule of economics. When demand explodes, but supply stays completely flat, prices have absolutely nowhere to go but up. But this isn't just standard supply and demand. It's about how rigid the semiconductor industry actually is. Silicon manufacturing is probably the most complex supply chain on the planet. They simply can't flip a switch and print more memory chips overnight to feed these hungry new data centers. Let's break down why this is such a nightmare bottleneck. Step 1. The industry realizes demand is exploding. Okay, great. But step 2, you can't just run an empty warehouse and start stamping out chips. You have to build a brand new fabrication plant, a fab. And those run anywhere from $10 to $20 billion each. They need perfectly dust-free clean rooms and rely on extreme ultraviolet lithography machines from companies like ASML, which literally have wait lists that are years long. It's a massive financial undertaking. So we are stuck in step 3, just waiting for years with a strictly limited supply while AI companies buy up every single wafer they can grab.
Section 4. The enterprise pivot. Following the money.
Here's where the story takes a twist. Even when production finally does start catching up, you, the average consumer, are no longer the target demographic. The major players, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, have totally shifted their focus. They are following the big money. They're prioritizing highly lucrative enterprise products, especially high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Right now, HBM is hoarding all the factory capacity because the profit margins are just absolutely staggering. I mean, a manufacturer would way rather sell one high-end server chip for thousands of dollars than 50 cheap RAM sticks to us. So they're intentionally reducing the production of consumer parts. It's an artificial shortage, and we're paying the price.
Section 5. The new reality, the permanent shift in tech manufacturing.
Think about how things used to be. Memory prices historically went up and down in these nice, predictable cycles. We'd see a spike from a crypto boom or a new smartphone launch, but eventually, demand was met, the market oversupplied, and we got cheap RAM again. That was the earlier era. But now, the landscape is totally different. The data is telling us this AI boom is not just a passing phase. It is a permanent, structural shift in the global market. The baseline has fundamentally changed, meaning those predictable, cyclical price drops for regular consumers might actually be gone for good.
And the timeline for any real relief? It just keeps getting pushed further out. Here in 2026, we're feeling the burn of massive AI demand causing these insane price jumps. Moving into 2027, the data expects heavy shortages to continue. Next-gen AI models aren't slowing down, and those multi-billion-dollar fabs are still just construction sites. Looking out to 2028, that is currently the absolute earliest guess for when things might ease up. But let's be real. If AI infrastructure keeps demanding bigger data sets, this high-price environment is going to be our reality way past 2028.
Which brings us to this incredibly sobering final thought. Consumer buyers are no longer the top priority, period. So as you stare down the skyrocketing cost of your next laptop or PC build, you really have to wonder. In a world completely dominated by big tech and ultra-funded AI data centers, what happens to the everyday user now that we've been permanently pushed to the back of the line? Will affordable, high-performance computing soon become a thing of the past? It's a harsh reality we're all going to have to navigate. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.